Assalamualaikum. Greetings everyone. Hi, it's Miss Honey here again. Alright. Today we are going to go into our last topic. Alright, our last skill for the syllabus, okay, for EAE, which is speaking skills. So today we are going to give focus on impromptu speech, because it is part of your assessment. Okay, remember, you still have one more assessment. Okay, actually technically two assessment. Okay, but one that is involving speaking skills, of course, which is impromptu speech. Okay, right, so we're going to talk more about the guidelines of our impromptu speech later, but we will go into the topic now. Okay, so are we ready? When we talk about speaking skills, okay, so let's be honest. Okay, ask yourself, all right, do you actually like to present in front of a crowd? Is it something that you look forward to? Whenever I ask this question to my students, I can bet that there will be none who actually raise their hand to say that yes, I look forward to present in front of a class. Okay, in fact, when we talk about speaking skills, it is the skill that students, should I say, fear the most. Okay, basically they don't like to speak in English. Okay, which is quite puzzling considering the fact that you have been exposed to the language for 11 years, okay, during your primary and secondary school years. Okay, and of course, if you take matriculation, okay, of course it is exposed to you as well. And of course, now when you are taking degree, alright? So, with all of this exposure, okay, isn't it puzzling, isn't it weird that you still have this fear of actually speaking, okay, in English? Okay, but that is of course a topic to be discussed on another day. Okay, but today we're going to focus more on speaking, okay, using what you have in terms of your experience, as well as trying to boost confidence in speaking in front of a public audience. Okay, now of course you may ask, okay, what is the use? When am I ever going to be asked to speak spontaneously in front of a crowd? Alright, probably this actually is only going to be during Miss Honey's class, because it is part of the assessment. But will I actually use it in the future? Okay, the answer is, of course, yes. And the answer to that also, almost every day you are going to be involved in a situation whereby you are going to be speaking spontaneously. Alright, okay, so yes, among the examples, okay, I can't ask you this in class because we're doing an online class. So of course, among the examples will be, of course, during conversation, okay, during lectures. Okay, if you have been in my lectures, of course, I would ask you questions, right? And when you give me answer, I will follow up with another set of question. Alright, normally I would ask you, why do you say so? Why and why? Because I want to invoke, okay, I want to activate, alright, your vocabulary. I want to activate your sense of confidence, should I say. Okay, alright, it's just like a warm-up to the actual thing, which is speaking in front of a public. So that's why I love to ask questions in class. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so this is an example, okay, of having the ultimate fear in public speaking. Okay, so yes, when we talk about impromptu speech, okay, it is part of public speaking. Alright, so this is an excerpt from the movie The King's Speech. Okay, The King's Speech. Alright, so let's have a look. Now, for those of you who are not aware, okay, this movie is an Academy Award winning movie. Alright, it is about the story of the King of England. Okay, King Edward, if I'm not mistaken. King Edward? I can't remember his name. Okay, probably King Edward. Okay, and he has to overcome his fear of speaking to the public. And of course, as a king, it is of course compulsory for you to give public address to your people. Okay, but he this fear of public speaking because he is a huge stutter. Okay, stutter, or in Malay we call it as gagap. Alright, so he has a very should I say, one of the worst case of stuttering. So let's have a look at this clip here. Hopefully I can play this. Alright, and if you can't hear the sound, then you can play this clip along when you are downloading my Prezi. So let's have a look. It's only about a minute long. Okay, so you can notice he's actually trying to say something, but he was so nervous and he already have this stutter. Okay, added to the factor of your people is observing your every move, so of course that would add to the nervousness. Okay, alright, so hopefully that won't happen to you. Okay, but this movie itself is a very, very interesting movie, The King's Speech. So I highly recommend it. The guy who portrayed the role of the king, he won an Oscar for that. Okay, so highly recommended movie. Right, so of course when we talk about speaking in public, alright, it is not something that we all look forward to. Even I myself, okay, I don't actually look forward to speaking in public. Alright, especially if I have to present in front of my superiors. Okay, alright, however, okay, you have to take it as something that is totally normal. Okay, if you say that, Miss, I'm very nervous, I have stage fright, okay, I don't know how to express my ideas in English. Okay, some of you say that, okay, I can express my ideas confidently in Malay, but because of the language barrier, my limited vocabulary, I cannot express my ideas in English. Alright, that is totally normal, considering that, of course, alright, English is not your first language. Okay, alright, however, all of these factors, okay, can be overcome, okay, throughout several practices, okay, several methods that you all can try out. Okay, alright, so we are going to focus on, okay, impromptu speech itself. Okay, so when we are giving a speech or when we are presenting, okay, so I don't want you to take this specifically for your impromptu speech. Maybe you can actually relate this to your time whenever you are asked to present in front of a class, because I see a lot of mistakes being made by students. Okay, the number one most should I say, the biggest sin should I say that you always make is that you always read the slides. Okay, which is a no. So you can maybe generalize this, not just specifically we are talking about impromptu speech, but probably you can relate this to presentation skills. Okay, whenever you are given the chance to present in front of a classroom. Okay, oops. Okay, so what should be considered whenever you are asked to present, whenever you are given the task of giving a speech in front of an audience? Of course, audience is a very critical element, okay, as well as purpose. Okay, so who will be your audience? Okay, why are they there? Okay, what is the background of your audience? Okay, take for example the class itself, your class. Who will be your audience? Number one, your classmates, of course. Number two, your lecturer, of course. You also need to look into the reasons why your audience is there. Okay, perhaps they have a different purpose why they were there. Alright, for example, okay, your classmates probably they have no choice, they have to sit through your presentation, okay, while waiting for their turn, for example. Your lecturer, probably they have a different purpose. Okay, for example, their purpose is to assess you on your speech. Okay, so you have to bear that in mind. Okay, also some other elements, for example, you can look into your audience background. Okay, your audience level of previous knowledge. Okay, all right, their level of, should I say, yeah, educational background, you know, things like that can also be considered whenever you are giving a speech. All right, next will be purpose. Purpose here refers to your objective. Okay, why are you standing in front of an audience giving a speech? Okay, what is your purpose? What is your reason for standing in front of an audience? Okay, so with these two elements, okay, right, you can actually conduct a very successful impromptu speech. Without one or both, okay, should you actually give a speech in front of an audience? Maybe not, okay, because you didn't fulfill these two elements. Okay, all right. Okay, right, so when we are talking about impromptu speech, of course, they are spontaneous, on the spot. Okay, all right, you are given your topics. So let me give you a rundown of what went through last semester, because last semester was the first time we actually had to do this impromptu speech. Okay, so my way will be, normally I would prepare like a jar of random topics, okay, that students can talk about, right? I will give all of these topics beforehand. Alright, I will give, for example, 50 different topics, and then I would print them out, cut them into strips, and then put them in a jar. Okay, alright, let's just give an example here. Okay, probably not an appropriate example. Okay, this. Okay, so this will be like the topics that I have prepared. So when it comes to your turn, okay, I place this in front of the class, okay, and then what you have to do is that you have to dig in and then pick a topic at random. Okay, all right, so I'm not going to eat this during Ramadan, okay, it is daytime. Okay, so yes, once you've gotten your topic, you are given 1 minute to prepare for your speech. Only 1 minute. So normally I would bring my timer, I will bring my call bell. So 1 minute is up, I will ring the bell once, okay, and then the student will give their speech. Okay, so the duration of the speech is normally between 3 to 5 minutes. So normally I will provide 3 minutes minimum, 5 minutes maximum. Okay, so very little to no time for preparation. Okay, all right, but that's the nature of impromptu speech. Okay, it's spontaneous. Okay, probably you only get to know the topic that you want to talk about there and then. Okay, however, because you are all not experienced speakers, of course I would be more lenient in the sense that I give you the topics beforehand. So you have to do your homework and then, okay, research for those topics. So normally the topics that I would give would be very general. Okay, very general. Okay, for example, okay, yes, probably this semester we can talk about COVID-19, okay, and the impact of COVID-19 to the country, for example. Okay, all right, so let's have a look into appealing to your audience. Okay, so when you're presenting, when you're giving a speech, you also have to consider not just, okay, the content of your speech, but of course your audience. You need to be able to grab their attention, appeal to your audience. Okay, so these are the three techniques that you can use, which is logos, pathos, and ethos. Okay, so these are the modes of persuasion by Aristotle. So if you don't know who Aristotle is, he was a Greek philosopher, very famous. So if you don't know who this person is, please do a bit of Google search on him. All right, so according to him, okay, using these three modes of persuasion can help you to warm up to your audience and convince them. Okay, because when you are talking about a topic, okay, your purpose, should I say, is to be able to grab their attention and persuade your audience, of course. So let's have a look into each of these modes of persuasion. Okay, logos refers to logic. So you grab onto their logic. Okay, you grab onto their logic. For example, you can use a lot of scientific explanation. Maybe you can look into results from research. Okay, for example, okay, you get to see here some of the expressions, okay, that are used to incorporate logos will be, for example, you mentioned statistics. Alright, people who eat chocolate are 72% happier than those who doesn't, so we should eat chocolate every day. Alright, so you mentioned statistics. Okay, if you do not submit your works, it will negatively affect your overall grades. So yeah, you appeal to their logic. Alright, so by logic, of course, if you don't submit your work, of course, it will negatively affect your overall grades. Alright, so this is one way for you to persuade your audience to buy into your argument or into your speech, because that will be your main purpose, to grab their attention, to persuade them. Okay, right. Okay, ethos refers to ethics. Alright, so ethics and practices, of course. Okay, and using people's should I say expertise. Alright, for example, as a dentist, I see this problem a lot. I recommend using a sensitive toothpaste. Alright, so when you are saying that you are a dentist, so whatever it is that is related to dentistry, okay, probably people will believe. Okay, he knows more about dinosaurs than anyone else. I mean, he has 20 years of paleontology field experience. Okay, alright, so yes, okay, you are tapping into someone's expertise so that people will actually be convinced, or people will buy into your argument. Okay, again, remember back into your purpose. What is your purpose, okay, of giving the speech? You want people to believe you. You want people to buy into whatever it is that you are trying to sell, trying to say. Okay, alright. Pathos, okay, pathos here refers to, okay, emotions. Alright, so you can also grab onto their emotions. For example, if you don't adopt this kitten, he may never find a home. And someone who can do this very, very well, they have a certain intonation, okay, and then probably some very convincing body language or facial expression. Okay, alright, for example, if we don't adopt this kitten, he may never find a home. You can do that. Okay, yeah, so there are certain people who are actually very convincing at doing it. Alright, okay, and the second example, okay, very relevant actually today in this time and age. If you don't come back home this Hari Raya, it will break your grandmother's heart. Okay, alright, so appeal to the audience emotions as well. Okay, so these three can definitely help you. Okay, logos, pathos, and ethos. Alright, okay, so how should I prepare? So even though this is an impromptu speech, okay, you still have the ability to prepare. You are given the chance to prepare yourself. So when we are talking in the context of a normal classroom, of course, as I mentioned before, you are given 1 minute to prepare. Once the 1 minute is up, you are given 3 to 5 minutes to give your speech. Okay, so the moment that your speech have started, you also have to show confidence in terms of the way you stand, your posture, the way you use your hand, okay, the way you use your facial expression. All of these have to show people that you are confident. Okay, so being confident is one thing, but there's also a thing that we can say that don't be too overconfident. Okay, being overconfident can also kill you in the end. Okay, because for one, no one likes an overconfident person because they can sound pretty snobbish. Okay, so avoid being too overconfident. Okay, normally this would happen if you got a topic that is very easy and very relatable. Okay, alright. Some students, they prefer to get a general topic compared to a current issues topic. So among the 50 topics that I will give, it will be a mixture of all. Okay, alright. So normally one tip that I can give to everyone, if you are nervous, the easiest thing that you can do will be to smile. Okay, alright? So once you smile, it will automatically reduce your nervousness. Okay, why do I say that? Okay, once you do that, once you smile, it will relax yourself. Okay, once you smile, your audience will warm up to you. Your audience would actually know that, oh, okay, this person is probably they are nervous, but because they smile, it doesn't show. Okay, if you don't smile, then that is one way for us to know that you are nervous. So the least that you can do will be to smile. Okay, have a relaxing method of should I say breathing. Okay, so take a deep breath and then let it all out very slowly. Okay, and relax yourself. Okay, all right, calm yet confident. Okay, right. Okay, right. So among the other tips that you guys can apply will be in terms of thinking of your purpose. What is the purpose of you being there? All right. What do you think of the topic that is given to you? All right. Do I like it or not? What is my opinion on it? Okay. What is exactly going to happen as a result of this topic content, present or future? Okay. Probably you can mention this at the end of your speech. Okay. Are there any latest news, trends, or problems regarding this topic? Okay, so everything you have to think about in 1 minute. Okay, I know it can be overwhelming. Okay, however, with practice, it can be done. Okay, with practice, it can be done. Okay, all right. So one tip that I can also share with you will be in terms of PREP or prep. Okay, all right. So of course, in any speech, you must have your opening, you must have also your content or body, okay, and of course the conclusion. So let's go from point 1. Okay, point, of course, in terms of your point. Okay, meaning that highlight what is it that you're going to talk about. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about the impact of COVID-19 to Malaysians. That can be a very simple opening. Alright, okay. Reason for the point is whatever arguments that you make, you must have reasons why you say so. Okay, all right, and then of course examples to support your reasons. So you can imagine this is just like your writing, isn't it? Okay, whatever main point that you have, you must have examples to justify or supporting detail. All right, which is the same as your writing. It's just that in this with this, it is in the form of speaking. Okay, all right, and then lastly, when you are going to reach your conclusion, you can restate your opening. Okay, you can restate your opening, you can restate your point. Okay, normally for 3 to 5 minute speech, okay, believe me, you think that it is actually short, 3 to 5 minutes, but when you are there, believe me, it is the longest 3 minutes of your life if you are not prepared. Okay, if you are not prepared. Okay, all right. So another way that you can probably organize yourself, okay, because it's an impromptu speech, in certain occasions you are not even allowed to jot down anything. Okay, so what you can do will be using the handy speech organization. So what is handy speech organization? Okay, all you need will be your palm of your hand. Okay, you can hold the palm facing you. Okay, so whenever it is while you are speaking your topic, okay, you would use your hand to actually visualize your content. Okay, all right. So for example, okay, when you do this, okay, it shows that you are doing the introduction. Okay, all right, one at a time, extend your first 3 fingers. So this one, okay, your thumb will represent your introduction. Alright, index, okay, your middle finger as well as your ring finger will actually represent your content. Content 1, content 2, content 3. Okay, and then your pinky will be your conclusion. So as you talk about your content, or as you go through your speech, you use this so that you know, okay, I'm here, okay, I'm here at the end of my speech. Okay, for some it did help. Alright. Okay, so yes, one way for you to convince your audience will be in terms of using personal stories. Okay, so if you remember during my lectures, sometimes I would use my experience, I would use my personal stories to make it more relatable to you. Okay, all right, let me give you an example of my own personal experience going through I wouldn't say impromptu speech, but my first ever presentation without the help of any visual aids. Okay, right. So I was 18, it was my first presentation. We are not allowed to use any PowerPoints. Okay, the only visual aid we have is we have to create a brochure. Okay, at that time it was a class which is called Introduction to Novel. So being an English student, we have to study novels. So at that time it was actually not novel, it was short story. Okay, and just by luck, when we took out the turn for who's going to present first, second and third, I was the first presenter. So of course I was very nervous. Okay, I had lack of experience presenting. Okay, and we are given a chance to use notes. Okay, my mistake at that time was that this was the size of my notes. Okay, A4 size, and I didn't even bother to actually fold them. Okay, so I hold them like this. Okay, now certain people have certain symptoms whenever they are nervous. Some of you would sweat, some of you would shake, would shiver, some of you suddenly want to go to the toilet every 5 minutes. Okay, some of you suddenly got stomach ache. All right, in my case, I would shiver, my hand would be like this. Okay, so can you imagine, while presenting in front of my classmates, okay, while holding my A4 size notes, okay, my symptom was that I would have very shaky hands. So whenever I present and I'm holding the size of my notes like this, of course my hands would shake and the paper would shake as well. So whenever my classmates see this, of course they're going to say, oh, this girl very nervous. Okay, so what happened to me back then? Of course I know that my friend know that I am nervous. So what happened to me? I became more nervous. Right? So my lecturer at that time, he saw me, what happened, so he calmed me down by saying, okay honey, okay, take a deep breath, okay, please put down your notes on my table. So I put down my notes on the table. Do not look at it, only refer to it when you need to. Okay, alright, because he was confident that I actually did my practice. So just say whatever comes to my mind. So I followed his advice, and thank God I did okay. Alright, but that was quite an experience that I had. So after that, I learned a lot from experience. Okay, I learned to now actually use smaller size notes. Okay, and of course practice and practice. Okay, alright, so go easy on yourself, do not be too stressed out. Okay, alright, it is just 3 minutes of your life, so go easy on yourself, don't be too stressed out. It is just the 3 minutes of your life that will be taken away from you. Okay, and of course you will be assessed. Okay, so I will share the guidelines later on how will you be assessed. Okay, right, now let's watch this example of impromptu speech. I don't know whether you can watch this or not. Okay,
my name is Matthew. I'm born, bred and raised in the wonderful country of Malaysia. We all know this beautiful and harmonious country as Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, so the topic of the impromptu speech. So this is actually an impromptu speech state level champion 2016. So I'm not sure whether this guy won or not. I think he won. Okay, so the topic that was given to him was why I love Malaysia. Okay, very simple. Okay, so let's have a look. It was 2 minutes. Let's see.
Should I ask you why do you love Malaysia? That's a question for yourself. But as for me, why do I love Malaysia? It's not because of the food. Although satay, nasi lemak, baking, everything, but we can find food anywhere. That's not the reason why I love Malaysia. Is it because of the bees? No, there are many other countries with bees. That is also not the reason why I love Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, I love Malaysia because of this one key word. In Malaysia, we have unity in diversity. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm proud to be Malaysian because I'm proud to have friends who are Chinese, who are Indian.
Okay, so if you take a look into his first point, that was his reasoning. Okay, Alright, Malaysia is a beautiful country because there is unity in its diversity. So that was his main point. Okay, and then he elaborate further by giving examples. I have friends who are Chinese, okay, Indian.
All mixed races and religion. Yes, in Malaysia it's all possible. You have mixes in this room. Even in this room you can meet so many different people from so many different racial backgrounds and with so much rich history. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, I love Malaysia. Malaysia is a multiracial country where we can have so many different people from so many different backgrounds coexisting with mutual harmony. Now, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's true, other countries may have the same people, but how many of us can actually take Malaysia as an example country to be made as the country where harmonious people are living because of unity? Many other countries are fighting because of their differences. But ladies and gentlemen, we as Malaysians, we are living together because of our differences. It is what makes us different that puts us together.
Okay, so you see how he managed to convince, right? The way that he elaborate his point, the way that he used his words, okay, actually is very, very convincing, okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, being different is why we as Malaysians are proud to know one another as Malaysians, as our friends, and even to call others our family. So while I love Malaysia, unity in diversity, it's very...
Okay, and if you notice, he keeps on mentioning, okay, putting stress on why I love Malaysia. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, I love Malaysia, because Malaysia there is unity in diversity. So he restate again his points, okay, to make it more convincing.
Very important, and it's not just because that the food can be found anywhere and food is temporary. Even peace can be broken down anytime. But ladies and gentlemen, the relationship we make with other people, with other fellow Malaysians, yes, that's what makes us unique. Now, it's true that we might have ups and downs, political turbulences, our country might be facing slight changes in politics, which we might think that, oh, our country is going down. No, ladies and gentlemen, every country has its ups and downs, but we as the people representing the country, if we ourselves do not support our country when it's going down, who else is going to do it? It is our job, as our love. Being patriotic is irrelevant if we do not have the sense of love, the sense of joy of being Malaysian. Malaysian, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so again, focus on the way he used his hand gestures. Okay, very open, okay, all right, very convincing, okay.
You should love your country for its unity. You can find in diversity, fights and all, put them aside, embrace our differences because it's what each of us that makes us different, that eventually makes us unique, puts us together, and the slogan, One Malaysia is one for all. Thank you very much.
Okay. Alright, so if you get to see, that speech was only 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Alright, yet it is powerful in its content. Okay, very simple. Why I love Malaysia, the only point that he has was unity in diversity, and then he gave examples, he elaborate his examples. Okay, so that is what we can say is a very good example of an impromptu speech. Okay, so hopefully you can grab that very good example and take into mind of, you know, should I say that this can be a benchmark, okay, on what denotes as good impromptu speech. Okay, all right. Okay, so for this one I will leave it as our classwork. All right, as our classwork. So you have to watch another speech given by another student, and you have to identify the speaker's topic, introduction, main points, and conclusion. So the video is available here in my Prezi. Okay, all right, so that will be your classwork for today. Okay, all right, so I think that's it for today for impromptu speech. I hope that you can at least learn something. It is not something that is totally new, because yes, all of you have experience giving speech beforehand. All of you have experiences giving presentations before, but through what angles can you actually improve yourself? So hopefully with some of the tips that I gave, hopefully it can help you in the future. Okay, everyone. Okay, so that's all for today. All right, take care of yourself. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.